Good morning, King. I've been doing a lot of thinking. And one of the things I noticed about this entire situation is most of the time we were basing the things that's going on right now with us on you and what you bring to the table or what you don't bring to the table. And I think one thing I need to work on is patience, because the reason why I'm so impatient is because I see you in a later state. I see you in a different state of mind because I know what you are. I know where you're supposed to be. And so I become impatient and I just expect you to get it overnight. I'm not allowing you to experience it in all aspects. I'm not allowing you to physically experience it. I'm not allowing you to, I've allowed you to spiritually experience it, but as far as really trying to sort out where you want to be and what you want to do, it's almost as if I feel a shift, and I'm becoming closer and closer to the point of actually being devastated if something were to go wrong. And because I'm getting farther out, I almost think of it as the ocean, being in the middle of the ocean. Like right now, we're at the beginning of the ocean. And eventually, we're going to move out towards the middle of the ocean. The closer I get to the middle of the ocean, the closer I get to where we need to be. But because I'm not close enough to home anymore, I'm not close enough to a safe place where I'm not hurt and my emotions aren't so much involved, I become scared, almost like fearing for heights, because I'm climbing higher and higher in us. And the more I climb, I find myself becoming a little more emotionally attached, a little more spiritually attached, and a little more trying to find the best way to put this. A little more in tune with you. So it's hard. It's really hard for me because I don't operate in the world. I operate in the spirit with you. So it's almost as if I have to be in this higher place and then I have to come down just in order to be considerate of where you are, considerate of your lessons and the process of receiving those lessons. So it's the hardest thing in the world. And what I realized yesterday is that, I was very impatient. What I realized about yesterday, because I just realized it this morning. I was being very impatient and I was becoming extremely emotional. And the thing about twin flames is there's always going to be that person, whether it's me or you, there's always going to be that person who doubts this and who's not all the way completely sure about this even being real. And like you said, I'm the person who usually keeps my head. So it's almost like last night there was nobody left to keep their head. I mean, you can't keep your head obviously because you're confused and you're afraid. And me, it's kind of like last night. Usually I keep my head. Even when you tell me bad news, I'm able to be accepting of it. But last night I was just filled with a whole bunch of emotions that I'm not used to. I was filled with fear. I was filled with doubt. I was filled with frustration. And instead of channeling that and using my own personal gift, which is expression, I didn't channel it in a positive light. I literally took it and I literally almost crashed. Like, if I was controlling the car last night, I would have crashed us because I was just a nervous wreck. I didn't have a fear of losing you. I had a fear of how long is it going to be before this guy realizes what this is. You know what I mean? That there was a fear of being emotionally attached to the point where when you begin to do these things and repeat them over and over, I become depressed, or I become, I'm thrown off of my own path. And those are things that I'm not supposed to worry about. What we have here isn't worldly. So I wasn't supposed to think of these things in a worldly sense. I was supposed to think of these things as if, hey, we're operating in spirit, but we still have to maneuver, and we still have to experience things in a worldly setting. And so instead of completely forgetting that this world even exists, I have to learn to balance the fact that we still live through this world, although we operate in the spiritual realm with one another. And I do want to apologize because I was very obnoxious last night, at a time when you maybe needed me most, at a time when you were most confused. I was pretty much like giving up, and I was pretty much almost becoming frustrated with you. And that energy, although I probably didn't say it, you felt it. And so it was like an emotional pull. One thing I noticed once I was able to collect myself this morning, and once I was able to operate at the frequency that I'm used to operating in and the frequency I'm supposed to operate in, I realized that you are emotionally attached to your ex. I realized that because of past experiences and because of feelings, you are emotionally attached to her. You are not spiritually attached to her. And I'm not saying this to tell you to not be with her or to be with her. If you want to be with her, I'm completely open with you being with her. Just because I was at that spot where I had to grow, and I passed that spot up. So I'm literally at a different growth pattern right now. And although it happened fairly quickly, it's definitely real and it's definitely genuine. If you want to be with her, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do, because I know who I am, and I know who you are, and I know what we are. So I'm not going to advise you to be with her, but I'm going to say to you that if you have to live out that experience in order to know what you want, in order to know what love is, in order to know what this even is, I'm going to need you to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to be with you every step of the way. I'm not going to discourage you. I'm going to continue to speak life into you. I'm going to continue to motivate you. I'm going to continue to give you love and affection, but I am not going to deter you from any life lessons that you have to live out, physically live out. I'm not going to do that anymore, because what that does is it sets you off and it puts you in a whirlpool of emotions, because now you're feeling shame, now you're feeling regret, a bunch of confusion, a bunch of doubt, and all those things aren't good for you and just the person you are. What you're supposed to be doing, all those things set that back, and you don't need that. The last thing I want you to be is set back from anything that you're supposed to complete with or without me. So I say all this to say, I know who you are, and whether you're with her or not, it doesn't change that who you are. It may set things back, maybe months, maybe years, maybe even a lifetime, but I'm content. I'm content with knowing that that's okay. It's not something that I can forget, and it's not something that I can take back. I already know who you are. You already know who I am. Once we know that, we're always going to be missing that part of us. And it's almost like a magnet, and we both felt that magnet our entire lives. We just didn't know what it was. We both felt that that pull, that energy, and it was almost as if it was something that completed us, although we haven't met each other yet. We felt it though. We knew that it was out here and existed. We were just waiting for it to happen. And then when we connected, I must remind you that we did not connect physically. We did not connect emotionally. We did not connect sexually. We did not connect through our egos. We did not connect through money. We did not connect through opportunities. We connected in the spirit. We connected in energy. And there is literally no other substance that trumps that. And last night I heard you say, I thought what we had would trump my past relationship. You don't even know what this is. You don't know what this is. And I think I hold you to a certain standard because I assume that you see this the exact same way I do. And although you're very aware of what it is, you feel it and you know it to be true in the spirit. You don't know it to be true in your mind because you're still vibrating at a certain frequency, a little lower than mine. Although you are the other me, you are more content in that sense of direction, because you're not ready to grow yet. You're accepting of the growth, but you're not ready to fully dive completely into it. And I just want you to know that I'm here with you every step of the way. And you can take as much time as you need. I'm not going to rush you. I'm not going to become frustrated with you. I'm not going to mock you. I may laugh at you. I can't promise you that I won't laugh at you. I may laugh at you because that's just what I do. But it's like you doubt yourself almost. Like one minute you tell yourself, hey, I have a connection with this girl that's like no other. I've only known her not even 3 months and I've already connected with her like I've connected with no one else. And then the minute you start to think in a worldly sense, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm having thoughts about my ex. I have this emotional tie towards my ex. I don't have that emotional tie towards her because you're not operating in emotions when you're with me. You're not operating in a physic. You're not operating in anything, any type of worldly sense. You're not operating in that. So when you don't feel that emotional pull towards me, that's okay. And I realize that you're still kind of, we're all very brainwashed in this matrix. We've been taught through media, we've been taught through movies, that love is just this fairy tale point of view. It's just this like everlasting pool of emotions, and it's just this tie you have to someone where everything is always good and everything is always, you're always on cloud 9, and that's not what love is. And that's why when people get into marriages, they wonder why the marriages aren't, why they don't stay the way that they assumed they would stay. They're like, I don't even feel romantic with this person. Because when you're in love with someone, it's all about romance. It's all about this fairy tale, right? It's all about this constant emotional state. And it's like you're admiring this person, but you're in a constant state of admiration. And you're in a constant state of, like I said, emotions. And so when we think about twin flames and we think about people that we're supposed to be on our life journey with, we have to realize that it's not the typical relationship. It's not what we've been taught it's supposed to be. I mean, you feel that spark, you're going to eventually feel emotional pulls. The more and more you be around each other, yes, you're going to feel that. But you have to understand that emotions come with experience. You can be around somebody that you hate with all your heart and soul. As long as you're around that person for an extended period of time, that person begins to grow on you. Emotionally, they begin to grow on you, because memories, they do what? Memories bring about emotions, whether they're good or bad. Experiences, they bring about emotions, whether they're good or bad. So regardless of whether the memory or the emotion was good or bad at the time, you've already developed a pathway. You've already developed a history of constant emotion. So me being your twin flame, I just can't come in and then just shut down everything you felt, all the progress that you had emotionally, all of this experience that you had, all this history you have with this person. Emotionally, I cannot take that away. Just like my ex. When I come around my ex, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna say that there's not a person that could please me like my ex can, but I literally, when I come around my ex, I feel a bunch of emotions, actually. A whole bunch of emotions. And I don't feel that way with you. When I come around you, I'm not emotionally in tune with you, because that's not what that is. But because I'm at a different state, I'm at a different growth in my life, I acknowledge that those emotions aren't everything. That romantic part of things, that's not everything. There's no substance behind that. So when you think about marriage, when you think about spending the rest of your life with somebody, you have to ask yourself, what is the substance behind all of this? Like the whole persona, behind this person's physical attributions, because obviously at a certain point in your lives, that person's not going to be as beautiful as they are now. You have to ask yourself, what about their mind is what type of substance do they offer me in the mind? What type of experience do they give me in the way that they think, in the way that they operate, in the way that they the energy they bring me? What kind of substance is behind those things? Because if you take away sex, because sex is not always going to be there, and in a marriage, sleeping with the same person over and over the repetition becomes pretty boring. You can ask anybody, I don't care how good your sex is. It becomes boring at a point in time. So there has to be substance behind your connection. It can't just be sex. It can't just be looks. It can't just be emotions. Because after a while, those emotions, they become sealed. And once those emotions are sealed, and all the other things around everything that's growing around your emotions, once those things start to manifest themselves, sometimes they're going to outweigh those emotions, and those emotions aren't going to be nothing anymore. So you don't want to tie yourself down to something based on emotion, based on guilt, based on shame, based on fear, based on some fairy tale emotion, based on all of those things. Like, you cannot become attached to those things. Those are experiences. Those are lessons. You know what I mean? Those are ways to learn to cope better with your own emotions. And it's actually a part of your growth and channeling your growth, because then you become more aware of what you actually want and what actually lasts within a relationship. What things are supposed to last, what you're supposed to give, and what you're supposed to take, and the things that you're supposed to keep. So it's almost like when I come around my ex, like I say, I feel all these emotions. And if I was a person who wasn't in tune with where I'm supposed to be, and if I wasn't content and I wasn't sure of those things, if I was still in a state of confusion, I would obviously think I was still in love with my ex. Because when I come around you, I don't feel like I feel when I come around my ex. I don't have these emotional ties to you. I don't. I mean, you may hurt me every now and then, you know. I like last night I cried, you know. I broke down and I cried. That's because I started operating in a worldly sense. But if I was to say spiritual, the way that I'm always am with you, when you give me bad news, do I cry? I don't cry. As long as I stay spiritual and not worldly and not emotional, there's nothing you can do to hurt me, because I know what this is. But when I think of my ex, I can always be hurt. I can always have fear. I can always have doubt. I can always have confusion, because that is a pool of emotions, a history of things, trials and errors, and you can never relate to my ex when it comes to my emotions and the way I feel about my ex emotionally. Same thing vice versa. I can never relate to your ex and the way you feel about her emotionally, because I don't have that experience with you. I didn't grow on you emotionally. We don't have any ties emotionally. We don't have any history emotionally. We don't. But that's not what we are. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what we are, and that's not what I want to be. To be honest with you, I don't want to be with you because you're this big heap of emotion. Emotions are going to come regardless. I want to be with you because once emotions are said and done, once sex is said and done, once your physical attributions are said and done, there's always going to be that spiritual connection, because you are me and I am you, and you mirror everything that I have within myself. That is why I want to be with you. I don't want to be with you for emotions. Emotions feel good. You know, when I come around him, I get butterflies. You know, I get to, I'm not going to lie, I get to thinking about, you know, the way it used to be, and how he used to make me feel, you know, and I crave those things. And one thing I realized too, when you said that, it's almost as if you've been bamboozled by the world and thinking that that's a bad thing, that when you're around me, you thought of your ex. I think about my ex a lot. When I'm around you, I thought about my ex a lot of times. There's nothing wrong with that. You can actually share that with me in the moment of thinking about that. That's okay. That's absolutely human. Just like if you see someone out and they're very, very attractive, you can express those things. You should never be with anyone that you can express those things with. Because when you're with someone that you're supposed to be with, you're supposed to be able to be just as comfortable with that person as you are when you're in the room by yourself. So whatever thoughts you have that come in, you should be okay with saying those things to that person. And I am 100% accepting of those things. Something else I wanted to say to you. There's something else I wanted to say to you. Oh, how you said I've never felt this connection with anybody. And you've only known me about 2 months, maybe 3. You've only seen me twice. And your ex, you were with your ex for how long? Maybe a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know. But anytime you tell yourself, I have not felt this connection with anyone else in as little as 2 or 3 months, never doubt yourself. Because a connection is something that it's hard to come by. It's very, very hard to come by. And at this age in our life, I don't want to rush things. I don't want to rush you into thinking anything, and I don't want to rush myself into whether or not I want to remain content with this situation. But you're 26, 27, I'm 28. I'm 26, I'm 28. We're at that point in our lives where it's almost like we still have a whole lot to experience, and we're, you know, the clock is ticking. So I don't want us to be stuck in any paradigms that we're not supposed to be stuck in. I don't want us to collapse. I don't want to give up. But at the same time, I do not want us to be so stuck in something that we literally we aren't able to experience all the beauties of life. Like, I know that we're going to have trials, but I want to get to those trials. I want to attack them, and I want to be done with them. I don't want us to spend all of this time doubting ourselves. But I am going to allow you to have time to grow. So, there's nothing wrong with that. I really apologize for getting emotional last night. And then there's another thing. Because we are twin flames, like I said, we operate in the spirit. And we operate through energy. Everything else is going to come. The emotions are going to come eventually. They're already really surfacing now. But they aren't as strong because we've only known each other 2 or 3 months. We don't have any history to be emotionally attached to one another. We just don't. You can't force something that's not there. So, I'll say this to say, just don't be thrown off. Live in it, experience it. Just give yourself time to know. Stop being hard on yourself. And the thing about me, I feel all of that. So when you're going on throughout the day and you have guilt in your heart, I feel it. So I'm constantly like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? I'm not upset with the fact that you're experiencing those backfalls or those backsteps. I'm not upset with that. I feel it. You're a reflection of me, so I feel it. And when I'm feeling it, I'm being upset because I'm the one that's feeling it too. And I know it's really hard for you to understand because spiritually you're not all the way there yet. You're going to be, though. And when you do, you're going to look back on these things and you're going to laugh. And it's going to be a history that cannot be remade. Literally, it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing. And it's like when you operating out of fear, out of shame, I can feel that you're doing that. When you're frustrated, I can feel that. So I'm saying this to say, if you're going to experience the back steps of continuing this emotional, fabricated, worldly, whatever you want to call it, relationship with your ex, then do that, and do that without feeling any shame in doing it. Understand that you are completely human. Understand that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you failing in order to succeed. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you having a trial and you want to try something out because you're not sure. But when you do it and you're operating out of shame or guilt or fear, I feel those things, and those are the things that bother me. So I want you to do those things with a clear mind and not feeling like, oh my God, she's gonna feel this and she's gonna know. And because when you do that, you bring my energy down too. So you have to be willing to accept your flaws 100% of the time. And you have to be able to live out your life lessons without feeling any shame or any guilt. And when you do that, then maybe I won't feel your shame and your guilt. And maybe then I won't be brought down so much the way that I am. Because it's not healthy for me. And so that's why I made this video, because I want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to experience all of that. It's not a bad thing. So I love you. I'm being greedy. See? I'm outside on the balcony. I want to show you my view. It won't let me show you. Hold on. So today's lesson is letting go of all fear, doubt, shame, guilt, and just living your life. Today's lesson is about how emotions aren't a bad thing. How memories of a person is not a bad thing. How attraction isn't a bad thing. How life's lessons is not a bad thing. How trials is not a bad thing. Because I want you to be free. And I want you to feel so light and so able. Because right now, not only are you holding on to those guilt and those shame because of what you're doing with her, you're also trying to find love. I feel you trying to find love for yourself. You don't even know what love is. So, it's just deep. You feel emotions and you confuse emotions with love. You think that you love yourself because of the things that you have to offer yourself that are worldly. So you're dipping and dodging in all these different pots. You have the marijuana thing going on over here. You got Biz Pro Wiz. You have the Brotherhood Nation. You have the export ideas. And you're literally just putting yourself in all of these different pools, and you're stretching yourself so thin. And because you're frustrated by it, I feel it. And last night I didn't channel that feeling the right way. I literally wanted to fight with you instead of using my gifts in order, my gift of expression in order to help you. I wasn't even emotionally in the right state. So I was only hurting you. And I'm willing to accept that, and I'm willing to apologize for that. But what I will tell you is that I feel your frustration, dude. I feel it's like you're doing all these things and everything's coming back void because you're giving yourself to the world in all the wrong ways. Because people see you, people love you for what you can offer the world. People love you for your gifts. People love you because you're so smart, right? So you think that the only way that you can get love or give love is through giving and all those and staying busy, constantly doing these things, although they're not amounting to anything at all. But you have to stay in those things in order to feel love for yourself. Because without those things, people have never loved you. Without those things, people have never looked up to you. They didn't know what you had behind this persona. The way I did when I came in your life and I just instantly knew. They didn't have that. They're not supposed to, though. They're not supposed to, because they are still operating in a worldly sense. What can you give them? Right? What do you have to offer them? Everyone's looking for you to offer them something. They want you to offer your looks. They want you to be really good looking. They want you to be smart. They want you to know how to network. How can you put me on to the next best thing, right? So that's the only way they know how to love you, because they were trained that those things are the things they should value in you. But what they don't understand is there's so much more about you that they should value. You haven't shown it to them because you don't even love yourself. So last night when I asked you what love was, I was not trying to find this broken part of you. What I was trying to show you was the current state of you. Your current state is to stay relevant in any which way you can. You want to build, yes, you know that you have the gift and you know how to do it. You know how to do it. You know how to develop things. You have all these big dreams and big visions and stuff that you were never able to share with people. So you stay at a certain frequency and you share those things only at a certain frequency. The frequency that is acceptive, like the world accepts it. And if it goes any higher than that, you don't want it. If it goes any higher than what the world can handle, you don't want it. You don't accept it, you don't give it, you don't show it, because now you're scared to be you. Because they only love what you gave so far, right? Because anytime you had ideas and you tried to give it to them, they shut your ideas down, right? They shut them down. They didn't want to hear about it. They didn't see it. They didn't see your vision. They didn't see your purpose. But me, on the other hand, I just walk into your life and then I just know. Because I know me. Because I love me. And it took so much for me to do that. But now I do. I love me. And so when I see you doing these things, I'm frustrated and I'm impatient because I know that was me. Right? Just stretching myself thin, giving everything I had to offer the world, just stretching myself thin and not offering any of this to myself. So every day you're constantly waking up, right? You're constantly waking up and you're using your gift. You're using your gift to grow things that don't need growth, that don't need even growing, right? And you feel exhausted. You want to know why you feel exhausted? Because it's literally like you're taking a ball and you're throwing it at a brick wall and you're expecting somebody to catch it. It keeps bouncing back to you because you're throwing it at a wall. There's nothing there behind that wall. That wall is already built. There's nothing there. There's nothing that you can do to change that. But because throwing that ball at the wall is what the world accepts, and it looks good to the world. Let's post it all over social media. Let's go around and get to know people and tell them about these great ideas, and you know what I mean? Because you feel love for yourself when you do those things. But you feel frustration because they're coming back void. Because you're stretching yourself so thin every day you get up and you're doing all these things and they don't matter because they are not what you are. You're a creator. You're a very spiritual man. You're a creator. You're a believer. Your gifts are they're one of a kind, they're unique, right? But because there's no career field for your gifts that already exist, you're selling yourself short of the things that already exist, right? Almost like a person, if they were physically able to heal somebody through touching them with their hand, right? If they came into the world and told everybody, hey, if I touch you, you're not going to have AIDS anymore. If I touch you, you're not going to have cancer. Nobody would accept that person, right? That nobody will be accepting of that because that's more than what they can handle because they don't know those things to be true. Right? That is as if that person that has this gift of healing by physically touching someone, deciding that they're going to go and they're going to get their doctors and they're going to spend 8 years becoming a doctor, 8 years in college to become a doctor. But they already have their own gifts. of healing. But because the world's saying, if you're a healer, you have to be a doctor. Because the world says that, they're selling themselves short. That's what selling your soul is. Everybody thinks selling your soul is this demonic thing, right? The devil was an angel, right? The devil was an angel after God's own heart. One of the angels he admired the most. The only thing that separates the devil from all the other angels is the fact that the devil thought he had a different way. So if God gave you those gifts, he gave you those visions, it's because that's his way, right? When you go about those gifts and those visions a way that's acceptable to this world, this earth, this tangible thing, you are selling your soul. And I feel that. And you feel it. And that's why you're frustrated. That's why you're impatient. That's why you're just all over the place. You just don't feel like you just even belong. Right? That's why. But I'm not going to keep you long because this is like a 41-minute video. It's only by the grace of God that it's even here this long, because the longest video I've ever been able to record has been recorded for 10 minutes. Tops. So I'm going to end this video to say that I love you. I believe in you. I'm here for you. I want you to be free. As free as you can ever be, I want you to be.